So here's a little pre-recorded opening for a vast majority of my shows. I'm asking still that you guys please help out with the Patreon if you would enjoy my shows. The Ghost Rider show is in existence. The Ghost Rider vlog is here because we managed to hit the $10 benchmark I wanted for starting up that show on Patreon. And with every dollar per month, one of my remixes will go up for a free download on SoundCloud, and that's for you guys. It's completely YouTube free friendly. There's no legal issues with it. I retweak them enough that even though they're technically covers, they're different enough that even YouTube won't notice them. So there's that, and there's a slew of other extras for helping out with the Patreon. Just go ahead and have a look. It's in the little eye up there. You probably saw a little bit of text too when the video started. So you guys are for helping out with this is why this channel still exists right now. And thank you so much for helping out. And enjoy the rest of your show. Thanks. So I had assumed earlier that there's going to at least be one more book for the storyline. There's at least two more. And I have to say, it only just started to get interesting. This is the Ghost Rider vlog. Alrighty, so today's book is going to be Ghost Rider number 18, and I have to comment on the upper left-hand side of this cover, still only 25 cents. You sons of bitches. I'll admit that I think I got off pretty easy on this collection, but holy smokes for comic books cheap. I believe the last time I checked they're about, I want to say $3, $3.50 at least, nowadays, just for one book. Dang, inflation's crazy these days. Anyway, we have a very interesting cover for the next part of this particular story, in which we have Ghost Rider on the Skull Bike, shooting down the Thing, and knocking over Hercules, while Spider-Man is swinging in to try and catch up. Oh my goodness. So the basic plot of this particular story is that the Ghost Rider, aka Johnny Blaze, is reliving things that he's encountered in the past in a massive scale, while this new weird guy, I keep forgetting his name, but essentially this weird demonic kind of guy is essentially taking Johnny on a constant race test, and he has to survive a number of encounters while racing and trying to reach the end in a decent amount of time. All of this, of course, weighing in on the fact of whether or not he can save the other possessed woman, Kate, and hopefully save her from further incident. Meanwhile, at the same time, the others are trying to do the best they can to help protect Kate from anything else that might be able to harm her. During the race, Ghost Rider does lose his bike, and has to, in fact, for the first time, recreate the Skull Bike, which he believes at the time is not something he can still do. For whatever reason, even though his Hellfire was stopped completely last time, he knew he could use Hellfire, but didn't believe he could recreate the Hell Bike anymore. But he very quickly proves himself wrong, but then encounters the Friend. He is being caught up in a fight with the Orb, Snake Dance, Miracle Man, Aquarius, and the Trapster, all of which are villains that we have been going through since the beginning of Ghost Rider's run. The Miracle Man, I don't think, was in any of the direct actual Ghost Rider books, but he was an encounter that Ghost Rider had nonetheless. And he goes about trying to slay these guys and trying to save the Friend. However, just as he does so, getting him off of a cross, no less. Hint. All of a sudden, his buddies show up. Ben Grimm is the first one to show up and gives him a good punching, as Ben Grimm usually would. We also have Angel and the Iceman from the X-Men, which are apparently a part of his current crew of the Champions. We also have Hercules, and we also have Black Widow. I don't know what's up with her. Obviously, she's not part of S.H.I.E.L.D., at least not yet. At least I don't think so. And she does apparently seem to have some sort of spider-like skills. Oh, and I forgot to mention, of course, Spider-Man does a little brief 2-frame cameo. I still don't get what her powers are, but apparently the Black Widow has fangs, and I think sucked on Johnny's blood in this thing, but I'm not entirely quite sure. But we also end this book with further reference to the whole incident with the filing cabinets. The financier for the Stuntmaster show is being a pain in the ass, but it turns out he's not actually being a pain in the ass. He's on the middle of something. I believe this happened in a previous book, but is being brought up again without him being actually in this book. He found out that a number of files were missing. We assumed it was him finding out there was no information on Johnny yet, even though obviously there might not be enough information on him just yet. But it turns out that instead it's Karen Page. Her information is somehow missing. And she's been working there for, I would assume, months at this point, and obviously wouldn't have been hired without some background information. It turns out, as the financier keeps his eye on things, that suddenly the credentials for her show up again, but they're very obvious photocopies instead of the original information that they had down on her. To which we see Stuntmaster being very outraged by some of the things going on and then talking to a shadowy figure, which is revealed to be Death's Head. And I have to step in on this one, because Death's Head is a really awkward character. The more popular of the characters, more popular Death's Head, I should say, is either Death's Head from the UK Transformers comic book run, or Death's Head 2, as he was labeled, who was essentially a reintroduction to the overall Marvel Universe and was a regular character here and there, and apparently has even made appearances in some of the Mortal Kombat vs. Capcom stuff, so there's an interesting little bit of trivia for you. But this is the first sort of Death's Head. The original Death's Head was actually Karen Page's father, who was a scientist, and he became very fluent with radioactive cobalt, which he actually made a cobalt bomb with. It was supposed to be very devastating, but he decided to keep it a secret, but also as he continued to work with cobalt, he went slowly mentally insane. To which he made an alter ego of Death's Head and began riding around with a big weird head, like zombie-like head, I guess you would call it, while having the rest of his body wrapped up in bandages and wearing a cape, and he used his nuclear know-how to make one of his horses see-through so you could see its skeleton. So, just this weird-looking apparition of a man. But this is actually not Karen Page's father anymore. He actually died in real life probably a couple years ago at this point. For sure, at least a number of months ago. But the big thing that they're building up to is that there's someone else pretending to be her father's character, the Death's Head. And this is someone called the Deathstalker, which immediately in my brain starts up the B-movie fantasy series Deathstalker, but apparently it's some sort of guy with a... He kind of looks like a shadowy version of like a film noir detective. Either way, for whatever reason, he wants... actually, I remember the reason now. For some reason, he decided it was a good idea to pretend to be Death's Head, which again is Karen's father in disguise, and he wanted to try and find out more information about her father's bomb. I don't know why he wanted that information, because it's obviously something very dangerous and not useful for most people. But
essentially that's what the entire huge background setup is for all of this stuff with Karen Page and missing information and so forth. But that is pretty much all the background and so forth for this particular issue. So I will see you all next time, where we continue the, I believe it's the final part of the race, even though Johnny has been left high and dry, looking like he's about ready to pass out and possibly lose the race, which means that he will lose his soul. We shall see in next issue. See you all then.